My name is George Edwards and I chair Tring and Pitstone Surgeries Patient Participation Group, or PPG, within the Rothschild House group of practices. I first became involved in the PPG in 2012 and became chair in 2017. Our practice has grown significantly since I became involved and now manages over 40,000 patients in Tring, Pitstone, Margate and most recently Berkhamsted, and our PPG is one of 3 serving those patients. We've all had to adapt during the COVID-19 epidemic, including PPGs. I've been fortunate that I spent most of my career working with IT, which is an ideal background to devise how to help support our PPG and patients during lockdown. Our PPG committee used to meet face-to-face about every 6 weeks with representatives of the practice. I quickly established a means to hold online meetings once we began lockdown so that we could continue to exchange information regularly amongst ourselves and with the practice. I would like to acknowledge the support of the practice in continuing to fund our virtual meetings for the next year. We'll probably continue face-to-face and virtual meetings as we slowly emerge from lockdown. During lockdown, I also decided that our previous somewhat irregular newsletters needed to be more regular and distributed more widely too, with COVID-19 related advice being frequently updated by various organisations. So we now publish a weekly newsletter of local health news using a commercial mailing programme to reach a wider audience. The newsletter collates health news from a wide variety of sources, including our practice, Harts Valley CCG, Bucks Healthcare Trust, the National Association for Patient Participation, and many others I think might be useful. Our PPG has been very fortunate to have had strong support from our practice over the years, with regular participation at our regular meetings from one of the administrative managers as well as a GP partner. This includes during lockdown when many practices suspended contacts with their PPG. We think this has proven mutually beneficial, with several suggestions put forward by our members being adopted, such as Purple Star accreditation to support those patients with learning difficulties. During lockdown, we were also able to identify volunteer COVID-19 coordinators in local villages through our contacts, which then were able to distribute medication to those requiring it. Being located on the borders of Buckinghamshire and Bedfordshire, and with patients living there, we've always had a strong interest in ensuring that our patients can access health services wherever is most convenient to them. We've been able to engage closely with Buckinghamshire Healthcare Trust in particular to resolve patient issues. We had 2 representatives from Bucks Healthcare Trust attend one of our virtual meetings recently, and as a result, one of our PPG members has volunteered for patient engagement with the Trust. As well as chairing our own PPG, I initiated PPG representation at our PCN's regular meetings, that's a primary care network. Whilst we rotate participation between the PPGs, I've represented them at several face-to-face and more recently virtual meetings, raising issues on their behalf and reporting back to them. Our practice is part of the Alpha primary care network, which represents patients in Tring, Pitstone, Margate and Berkhamsted areas in 3 independent practices. As these primary care networks introduce new services, patient input is invaluable, I believe. Since 2014, I've been a member of Harts Valley's CCG Reader Panel, reviewing documents such as patient information leaflets and new or changed services information. The idea is to ensure that all these documents are written in clear and understandable language for all patients before they're distributed. And I can honestly say that the quality has improved significantly since I began, and now I find many fewer reasons to comment than when I first started. And I'd like to think that the reason is that the constructive feedback that I and many members of the Reader Panel have provided, enabling production of better, patient-friendly documents. In 2019, the Harts Valley CCG sought patient volunteers to sit on a procurement panel for new online consultation software, and I volunteered. given my IT background. The plan was to roll the system out throughout GP practices in Harts Valley, initially with a limited pilot to test the concept. My aim on the panel had been to recommend a system as patient-friendly as possible whilst meeting clinical needs, and hopefully we've met that aim. Just as these pilot systems were being deployed, of course, COVID-19 struck and all practices adopted virtual working, including online consultations. And I therefore found my experience invaluable in helping our patients better understand how this new system worked and could support them in these difficult times. In conclusion, my experience as a patient representative in all the ways I've described has been very positive and rewarding. Hopefully it's helped raise the profile of patients' voices in the delivery of their healthcare services, and I'd be happy to share my experiences with anyone considering becoming a patient representative in some capacity or other, which I can highly recommend.